Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about medical billing and becoming a medical biller and what pro skills do you need. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. All right, so I will start off by saying this about medical billing. If you are wanting to be a medical biller, the good news is you do not have to be certified to be a medical biller. There are a few medical billing credentials out there or certificates, and I just want to let you guys know that it is not necessary to have those. There's a lot of people that say, well, Blue, I just want to get this formal training so that it can be on my resume and things like that. But when you look at the job listings for medical billers, they are not asking many times for any credential at all. Most of them either want experience or they want you to have had experience working in an office or maybe in a doctor's office, so you can kind of know. But most of the time with medical billing, it is hands-on learning and hands-on training with whoever you're working with. Because different places have different rules, that is part of the reason for it. And a lot of medical coders actually start their careers as medical billers. So when you hear the phrase medical billing and coding, sometimes medical biller is one person and a medical coder is another person. And sometimes it is one person who is doing the function of both. If you are in a facility that only employs like medical billers but not medical coders, then the medical billers are going to be chiefly responsible for working hand in hand with the provider to make sure that everything is there appropriately like it should. And they are also responsible to educate the provider when there are things that are coming back as denied. Why are they coming back as denials? And if you don't know or if you don't understand, then you need to reach out. And that is a pro skill that you have to have. You have to have that good communication skills, right? You have to be able to talk with anybody and everybody, because the medical billers are dealing with the providers and they're dealing with the patients. And if they are in a facility where somebody else does the coding, then they are also communicating with the coders. Now, I've had my experiences with medical billers many times, all right? And there are times when there's sort of this pushback with billers, and I will get a message from the billers, fix this, or add this, or you should have picked up this. Okay, hold on. Let me explain something to you. So I will break down like all of the reasons why, my references and my resources and stuff like that. And I'm taking the time to educate that biller because it's very important. Billers are not required, again, to have that formal training. The coders do, right? And because of this, I feel it is my responsibility and my duty to make sure that I share this information with them so that they don't keep making the same sort of, well, you know, you need to fix this. If there is something that is different or wrong or whatever, then we need to talk about why the insurance thought it was wrong. And here is the proof as to why I selected that code. So you have to be able to communicate with everybody. And remember that the medical coders just work as hard just as hard as you do to make sure that everything runs smoothly, right? But again, if going back to if it is just you and the provider, and maybe the provider doesn't employ a medical coder, and sometimes that happens, the provider is going to be looking to you. So you are going to have to be a more active force in the fact that you have to talk to the provider if they are consistently missing something. If you know that they are documenting in a way that is not clear or not to the point, you need to talk about that with them, because again, you're going to be that voice for them, with them, if the medical coder, if there is none, right? So that is okay. And with medical billing, yes, you are processing paperwork. That is mostly what you do. You get the claims and you sort them out. You put in all the information that you need to, and you submit them onto the insurance companies. And it is your responsibility, if something happens with that claim, to investigate why. and not just let it go. Because there are horror stories out there where some medical billers will get back a claim that the insurance company just rejected for some reason, whatever reason it is, and it may be some minor technicality or something that easily could have been fixed by a medical biller, and the medical biller just says, oh, well, the insurance company denied it, so I'm just going to go ahead and do whatever I have to do to process this out, That's not the way to be. You have to investigate, and that is a pro skill you have to have. Ask questions. If you are by yourself and you're not, really understanding like the book, and you're not really understanding, what's happening, that provider is looking to you to be very proactive in this. So reach out and try to find out why. You can look on message boards. You can reach out for a tutor. There's plenty on LinkedIn, and I'm a tutor myself. I always leave my information in the description box below. I've had many instances where billers have asked me, hey, Blue, can you answer me this? Why this, and this? Oh, okay. And then I can break it down in coder language, why this is the way it should be, or I'll help to try to find a resource as far as like what is going on. So those are always options for you if you are the only one there and you're getting stuck. It is important for you to be very educated, because a high caliber medical biller is one that is educated and one that is practically a medical coder, because to know and understand the rules and the guidelines is going to help your provider in the end. And not only that, it's going to help the patient, because you are going to make sure as a medical biller that that patient is not being overcharged or undercharged, right? Because it's all about making that whole thing correct. You have to be as correct as you possibly can. We've all heard the horror stories about patients going into medical bills bankruptcy, right? They have so many medical bills that they have to file for bankruptcy. And that is a horrible thing, especially when you think about it, that maybe some of those bills could have been reviewed, or maybe some of them could have been looked at again, and maybe something could have been different. We never know, right? But it is something that you need to look at. And if you know that your provider is not getting paid because they're consistently getting denials, look into why. That is the whole thing about being a medical biller, because you are going to have that technical know-how when it comes to those insurance companies to be able to stand up and say, well, hold on a second. We need to get paid over here, but we need to find out what's going on. So start being able to communicate, because your communication has to span over the provider, the patients, and if you're working with a coder, the coders as well. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. And being as patient as possible, because everybody's learning, right, is really, really important. So that is something that you need to think about if you are going to start in the health information field, and you don't have the money yet to go back to school or anything like that, and you want to start off in medical billing. Medical billing is a great place to get all of your training done, right? As far as like on the job and having that experience. One of the other great things about medical billing is that you can have your own medical billing business. There's a lot of them. There's a ton of them on YouTube, and there is a ton of them all over Instagram as well. So there's plenty of people that you can look to and aspire to if that is something that you are interested in doing. But make sure you know what you're doing first. Don't just get excited and then just jump in and you absolutely have no experience, because that is something that would be very bad for not just the provider, but for the patients as well. So make sure that you've had some training and some like on-the-job training, and make sure you've spent some time in the industry before you start taking that leap to do something as serious as having your own business and in medical billing as well. So that is one of the great benefits of being a medical biller. And again, not having to have that requirement of having a credential on your name. Now, sometimes I do recommend if you're going to like go for contracts or something like that that maybe if you want to get a billing certificate, that maybe it might look good. But I have known many medical billers who have 0 credentials and they're still able to win contracts. So again, it is not necessary, because if you are going to get a separate medical billing credential, keep in mind that you have to have those continuing education units to be able to maintain that. Continuing education units, if you don't know, is these credentials are living documents, which means that you have to continually educate yourself. And there's plenty of places that will give you free continuing education units. Sometimes it is a benefit of your employment. That is the deal with me. Once a month, we do have a coder meeting and we have a class on education on some subject. And that is how we are able to earn continuing education units. You can also earn CEUs, as they're called, by going to your local chapter meetings. That is another option for you. So the free ones out there, there's tons of them, but you got to do your research. And research is another pro skill that medical billers have to have, because they have to be able to look things up. And, you know, that is one of those things. If you're interested in that and getting free continuing education units, be sure to look those up. And the internet is worldwide. So make sure you're just looking and seeing and doing your research about how many that you need to be able to maintain this credential. So that is my advice there. What are some of the other things? Basic math. Some people get scared when they hear the word math. Oh no, Blue, I don't like to do math. I don't like to do... Okay, guys, it is simple plus minus, division, multiplication math. Easy stuff. This is not hard stuff. This is not algebra, okay? This is very simple, straightforward math. So yes, you can do it, and yes, you will get training when you're on the job. But again, it is very simple formula math that you're going to have to use when you are doing medical billing. It is not anything that is too complicated or complex. So you don't have to worry about that. Another pro skill would be knowing your anatomy, medical terminology, and anatomy. I mean, that is really... Did I say anatomy twice? Anyway, you have to know this stuff, because when you're looking at these claims, I have heard of medical billers submitting things that just don't make sense, because perhaps the provider was going too fast, and then the biller is just looking at this claim like, okay, this is the code, this is the procedure, and then they're just submitting it on. If it doesn't make sense, the buck can stop with you, okay? Send it back and say, well, wait a second, hold on, you know. Because you want these to be submitted in a timely fashion, okay? And again, don't be scared of the provider if they say anything to you. You're their teammate, and having that good relationship and that good teammate deal is going to help you, and it's going to in turn help him or her, because they'll be able to see that they're getting revenue in like they're supposed to be, as opposed to the horror stories of not getting any revenue in. And that is something that is always a concern for providers. So do your best to always be a step ahead, okay? Anticipate the needs of any insurance company that is, you know, either submitting like a lot of rejections or whatever. Look at their guidelines on their website. Go to their websites and check that out. Seek out a mentor in medical billing. You know, again, there's plenty of them, and, you know, it's just a matter of just talking, okay? And try to get in somewhere when you are applying for a medical billing position. Perhaps this is your first time into the health information arena. Take the time to look at those job listings and see what exactly that they're asking for. I've had many people write in asking me, well, Blue, I'm applying for a medical billing position, but what questions are on their test? Guys, I don't know. Every place is going to be different. For some medical billing places, they will ask, like, how much do you know about this insurance company or that insurance company? Or sometimes they will give you scenarios and ask you, why was this claim rejected? Or what is missing from this claim? They're going to be asking you to be looking at details. So that is something that you should know. But that's about as far as I know. I mean, I've never taken a medical billing test, so for an employer, so I don't know. But it's just something that you got to keep that in mind. Okay, so you got to be very detail oriented. That is a huge pro skill for medical billers. But yes, staying on top of the game and being willing to talk with your fellow members in the health information field is going to help you, because even just having those conversations with others, you may hear something that will be very helpful for you. Always do your research and verify that is actually correct, whatever information you're hearing, because you can't always take people's word at face value as far as like, oh, well, we do it this way, we do it this way. And that they may be saying that, but you never know what's going on behind the scenes at their office or their facility. So again, doing your homework and making sure that you understand this stuff is really important. So. But if that is going to be it for me. But if you are looking at starting and you're going to start your medical coding career as a medical biller, that's great. Keep track of all of the specialties that you are doing billing for so that you can put that on your resume, because even though you're not abstracting, you're still working with the codes and you're still getting that familiarity with ICD-10-CM and CPT or HCPCS coding, or anything else. So that is something to keep in mind. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we are inching our way. I don't know how soon we'll be able to hit that 10,000, but we are inching our way to 10,000. So I am so excited, and hopefully it will be this month. So we'll see. Give this a like, because it does help me and I really appreciate it. So I will see y'all next time. So if you are a medical coder, a medical coding student, somebody curious about the fascinating world of medical coding, a provider, or a nurse, I invite you to like and subscribe and follow me on my journey in medical coding. I will see y'all next time. Bye.